About 2.5 years ago, Freedom Watch filed an antitrust and unfair trade practice complaint against the PGA Tour, its commissioner, Jay Monahan, the DP World Tour, which is the European Tour, OWGR, which is the official golf world ranking, and Golf Channel, which is owned by NBC, for a conspiracy to restrain trade by trying to eliminate a new competitor, Live Golf, from the marketplace. Live Golf created competition. The PGA Tour didn't like competition. It wanted to maintain its monopoly. So they set out to fine and suspend players through the European Tour, suspend them in terms of the PGA Tour. They used Golf Channel to disparage and defame Live players, new Live players that were on that tour, which was financed by the Saudi Public Investment Fund, to prevent them from getting a television contract, which is, of course, necessary to raise revenue to have a successful golf tour, notwithstanding the fact that it's financed by the Public Investment Fund. The case was assigned to a judge in Palm Beach by the name of Luis Delgado. Initially, I thought he was very fair. He seemed to not even know who others involved in this case were. Rory McIlroy, of course, was someone I wanted to depose. He was making a variety of statements and believed to be taking actions to harm competition from the new golf league. And the harm to the consumer, and I brought it in my own name as a golf fan and consumer and as a citizen of Florida, is that because of a lack of competition, it raises prices to go to PGA Tour events. And also, when you buy a ticket, you're not getting the benefit of your bargain, because if the players that went to Live, who were independent contractors, who were also members of the PGA Tour, can no longer compete on the PGA Tour, or the European Tour, as we call it, the DP World Tour, then, of course, you wouldn't get the benefit of your bargain. It was a consumer class action suit. It is allowed, it's sanctioned under law. And in fact, the Federal Trade Commission in Washington, D.C., which I used to represent as a young lawyer for the antitrust division of the U.S. Department of Justice during the Reagan administration, they enforced the law to benefit consumers. So this was quite a legitimate case. To make this very long story short, I sought to depose Tiger Woods, Rory McIlroy, and Davis Love III, as well as Commissioner Jay Monahan. The judge, Delgado, granted a request not to allow me to take the deposition of Jay Monahan. I should have known where he was coming from at that point in time, because if I had been able to take his deposition, he was at the center, along with Tiger Woods, it appeared, of the anti-competitive illegal conduct. He, of course, pushed that thing off. And then over the course of the next several years, I sought to take Woods' deposition. Every delay tactic in the book was used to do that. The judge went along with it in large part. Woods claimed through his lawyers, incidentally, the lawyers who brought a case for this woman, E. Jean Carroll, who, quote, remembered 40 years later that Trump had raped her. This was a case in New York City. These lawyers are very politicized. They're Heckler and Fink, and one in particular, a very dishonest lawyer by the name of Michael Ferrara, was taking the point person in this regard. He even entered into the case before he was admitted to practice. He's a New York lawyer. He was not a Florida licensed lawyer at the time yet. Early on, he tried to obstruct this. In any event, the judge ruled that I could take the deposition. Initially, it went up to the 4th District Court of Appeals. They said the same thing. I was viciously attacked personally, as President Trump is, and others who oppose these individuals from the left, and this lawyer is from the left, and so is his law firm. And the local counsel, David Marcus, actually represented Hillary Clinton in the Democratic National Committee in a case that President Trump brought in Palm Beach, a RICO case, a Racketeering, Influenced, and Corrupt Organizations Act case. All of this sounds rather complicated, but it's not. The bottom line is that this Judge Delgado delayed everything, and it finally dawned on me why. Is because Tiger Woods, who is a golfing icon, he's a golfing god in effect. He broke the racial barrier to golf, which was mostly, white country club type individuals. And obviously, one of the most successful, if not the most successful golfer in history, along with Jack Nicklaus, he got cold feet. And he realized that if he allowed me to take the deposition, And if he allowed documents which we obtained to be made public, it could affect, I thought it could affect his judicial career, in terms of what I perceive to be a desire to become a federal judge. Most state court judges covet the thought of becoming federal judges because there's lifetime tenure, the salary's a bit better, it's more prestigious in the eyes of some, not really. I think state court judges are generally better than federal court judges because they're elected and accountable to the people. But anyway, he slowed everything down, and ultimately he dismissed the case. The case is up on appeal now, but just yesterday I filed a complaint because he had been defrauded by the various defendants in the case, including the third-party deponent, Tiger Woods, who was not a defendant yet in the case, although he would have become one in all likelihood, given documents that had been produced, which showed his illegal anti-competitive conduct. And I've been fighting now for months and months to have those documents made public. There's nothing confidential about them. This is not a Star Chamber proceeding. This judge, Delgado, kept mostly everything secret, which is contrary to our legal system. One of the reasons we broke away from ancient England is because of the secrecy of King George III and him having his judges rubber stamp his edicts behind closed doors. That is contrary to the American open system. So to make the long story short, I want you to go to freedomwatchusa.org, see the complaint that I filed. And I not only joined the defendants and Tiger Woods, the defendants being the PGA Tour, the DP World Tour, the official golf world ranking, which gives ranking points. So LIV players could, in theory, have played in major events, but those were cut off too. And sitting on their board of directors was Jay Monahan and others from the DP, that is European Tour. It's been blocked to keep them from major events. It's a big anti-competitive conspiracy, frankly. But I filed this case for fraud, and I also added the judge in, not seeking damages from him. I'm seeking damages from the others, and I'm also seeking a reversal of his decision to dismiss the case when it became apparent that he'd have to release these documents. And consequently, I want you to see it, because this is a testament. It's not just about golf. It's not just about competition. And I believe in competition. It's about what happens in our legal system. It's about how judges become compromised for their own reasons sometimes, and also because of special interests. It's what I've been fighting against since I started Judicial Watch back in 1994, and later after I ran for the US Senate in Florida, and did not prevail in that. I started a Freedom Watch, which is the name I took because I was a character on the hit series West Wing, which created a character, Harry Claypool, of me, which was Larry Klayman, of course, of Judicial Watch, Harry Claypool of Freedom Watch. That being said, I want to go a little further in this thought, is that President Trump, in nominating new judges, needs a Judicial Advisory Council. I hope to head that. I hope to be chosen to do that. That is my experience at Judicial Watch and Freedom Watch. I've written 2 books on the subject. It takes a revolution. Forget the scandal industry, and it takes a counter-revolution. Wake up, America. These judges, which President Trump appointed last time after he won in 2016, were establishment Republican rhinos who didn't even stand in the stead for him. Many of them sit on the U.S. District Court for the District of Columbia. They put J6 peaceful protesters in prison. The reason that he chose judges that were not of his ideological persuasion and courage is because the names were given to him by lobbying organizations such as the Federalist Society and American Conservative Union. And these people will get either contributions or actually get paid to put these names forward. Plus, there's large contributions that go to politicians that put the names forward, the senators of these states. And that's why we don't get the best and the brightest on the bench. We get compromised, sometimes corrupt federal judges. And that's what I've seen. And in my books, I go through a number of them that Trump appointed. They're almost as bad as those that have been appointed by Obama, Clinton, and Biden. They are not for the people. They're for themselves generally, and they're compromised. And they are establishment. They don't want to stick their neck out. So this case involving the PGA Tour is, even though it's in a state court with a state court judge, it is demonstrative of how these judges get swayed by factors other than the rule of law. They get swayed by their own interests and in future advancement. They could get swayed by bad publicity or whatever the case may be. They could get swayed, by simply sticking their neck out and preventing themselves from future nominations and positions in government or whatever. And it could be worse than that. Now, Judge Delgado, who's very likable, unfortunately, in my view, succumbed to the thought of revealing the illegal anti-competitive conduct, in particular of Tiger Woods. And Tiger Woods has one persona in public and another one behind closed doors. Judge Delgado kept this case largely secret for 2.5 years. It's time for him to release the Woods documents. It's time for the appellate court to reverse him and have it go back in front of another judge so we can get justice. Now, quite apart from judges, golf is an important sport. It's a huge industry worldwide. It is a great pastime. It allows you to play golf, even into your 80s. Gary Player, who's won 9 major championships, one of the greatest players of all time, is almost 89 years old at this point. He's still a great golfer. And amateurs also profit from it. It's a way to make friends. It's a way to make connections for business and personally. And it's a great sense of entertainment, particularly during these difficult times when we need something to get our mind off of the mess that Joe Biden and Kamala Harris created, bringing this case to this country to its near destruction. Thank God we now have President Trump, and he's got some good nominees. So we want to play a role in getting good nominees for federal courts. And it was Thomas Jefferson who opposed federal judges, who said, unelected, unaccountable to the people, they would become despots and tyrants, causing us to shed the blood of patriots and tyrants yet again every 20 years or so. What's a few thousand dead to refresh the tree of liberty? It's the natural manure of government. Jefferson didn't want to see anybody killed or hurt, neither do I. But we do need better judges, and our system is flawed. And until we can revise a new system on how to choose them, we have to make sure that we get the best and the brightest on the bench, not politicians in robes. So I want you to go to freedomwatchusa.org, contribute to our cause. This was a Freedom Watch case with me as the lead plaintiff in the public interest. As a golf fan, I'm actually a low handicap golfer. This is something that needs to be looked at. We need your support. We want President Trump to appoint me to head a judicial advisory committee or council or commission, whatever you want to call it, just like he's appointed Elon Musk and Ramaswamy with regard to reducing the size of government and government waste. It's very, very important. So go to freedomwatchusa.org, contribute to our cause with tax-deductible contributions. We are your real Justice Department. We are fearless. We are not afraid. We will do what we think is right, but we need your help to do it. We need more lawyers. We need more paralegals. We need more office space. We need to file more cases, and we need to set up this Judicial Advisory Council to assist President Trump so he's successful. God bless you. God bless America. God save America. Go to freedomwatchusa.org. Join our Justice League. Contribute with tax-deductible contributions. And remember, the Father and Son will only help us if we help ourselves. God save you. God save your loved ones. God save America. I'll be back tomorrow with another special podcast. Thank you for listening to me.